Let's talk first of all about your earnings beat and your outlook. You didn't cut your outlook, and your competitors have. What separates you from BMW and Daimler?
Good morning, Matt. Thanks for having me again. I mean, we knew from the beginning of the year that the second half would be more challenging. I think we laid a strong foundation in H1, and we obviously trailed fairly well, exactly within the range we expected in Q3. I think their situation might be different, particularly if you look at BMW and Mercedes. They have an issue with import duties and tax on import duties on exports from the United States. We don't have that. But I shouldn't comment on other people's business. We have to fight for every car and customer, and that's exactly what we do until the end of the year.
Nonetheless, it's the trade war that's hitting them a little bit harder than it's hitting you, and this is something you pay, I'm sure, particularly close attention to. Are you optimistic about Donald Trump's recent comments that he could make a great deal with China?
I think it's important to have stable framework conditions for all of us in the industry, and every step back to the negotiation table is very much welcomed, and we appreciate those efforts from all parties concerned, may it relate to China or to the European community.
How important is China to Volkswagen? I mean, yesterday there was a report that they may cut sales tax on cars in half, cars with 1.6 liter engines or smaller. That boosted your shares big time. Is it such a key market?
No, it is our second home market, without a doubt. We have a very strong position. We were very early in the market, and to a certain extent, Volkswagen, together with our Chinese partners, helped to define individual mobility in China. For the first 9 months, we are 5% ahead of last year. 1% was the market growth, so we did very well, but we've clearly seen the last 2-3 months to be much more difficult, and therefore the outlook for the year was more conservative. So any support in terms of a potential cut in sales tax would certainly help to stimulate, as it did in the past.
They are sort of mandating sales of the smaller cars. You're making a ton of money on your bigger cars, the luxury brands like Porsche. Is it difficult elsewhere to make money on the smaller passenger vehicles?
I mean, you have to get your act together in terms of cost and efficiency, no doubt about it. But I think it's a mix which is important, and I think we have improved significantly our mix with a much better offering, particularly on the SUV side, also for the volume brands, Skoda and Volkswagen. But at the end of the day, you're absolutely right, the margins are spread out differently, so we have to focus on each line of business. But it is important to have an eye on the cost in China too, and the market is very competitive, maybe the most competitive market in the world.
You mentioned Volkswagen. I was talking to Jürgen Stockmann recently, and he pointed out demand is there. You've got a lot of demand for the product. The production side has been an issue. Do you expect the bottlenecks to continue into the fourth quarter?
No, I think if you look at the overall picture, and now we are back to Europe, I think we expect, obviously, October to be similar to September, so pretty much distorted. But November and December, we should do better, and therefore we keep our forecast for the full year. But it is certainly a fight for each and every car and customer until the very last day, and that's what we are prepared for.
I don't mean to drag you all around the globe here, but let's get back over to the U.S. Your counterpart at Ford, Bob Shanks, recently said that he could see the collaboration, the joint venture that you guys have sharing costs on development, even going further into light passenger vehicles, perhaps. Could you see that as well?
No, absolutely. I share Bob's enthusiasm for the project. We identified light commercial vehicles to be the first part where we draw our attention on. Conceptually, we could think about a broader perspective, but this, for the very moment, is what we are all focusing on, and the teams are doing a great job, and the preliminary results are quite promising.
Could you see putting more production in the U.S.? I mean, right now it's been a difficult market. You could see what it's done to BMW and Daimler to have so much export capacity there. Could you see putting more, though, for Volkswagen?
I mean, it's no secret that we have some capacity left in Chattanooga, which we hope to fill up, particularly also with the 5-seater SUV, which is coming next year. We have high hopes for that product. No, certainly, we are balancing our production footprint, also certainly in light of the NAFTA negotiations and the results, as well as overall discussions. But there is no quick fix in order to make adjustments in our industry. but we certainly keep those developments under close scrutiny.
As far as the industry as a whole, there's been a lot of talk about how hard regulation has hit, especially the German car makers. Do you expect that to keep being such a headwind with the issues on diesel, with the environmental issues?
I mean, there are a lot of developments going on. If you take the discussion about driving bans in 15 cities in Germany right now, the decreasing share of diesel, the concern about residual values from a dealer and customer perspective. There are a lot of balls in the air, so I think it's important that we go straight to the point, that we leave out the politics, that we look for equitable solutions. And we are willing, certainly, to make our contribution to resolutions in the best interest of our customers. The
new diesel engines are very clean in regards to nitric oxide emissions, and they're much better than gasoline engines in terms of CO2. Are you going to be able to keep making and selling those products?
We believe in the diesel. Certainly, the share of diesel, as we planned for a long time, is going to decrease. It's currently decreasing a little faster. But particularly for the larger cars, the diesel will continue to play a strong role, and our new generation diesels are top in industry in terms of CO2 and particularly NOx emissions.
Is the customer demand there? Are customers not afraid to go into a dealership and buy a diesel vehicle in Germany?
No, certainly there is uncertainty. We have a guarantee out there for German customers. But there's still uncertainty, but a lot of people still believe, and the orders are still coming in, but certainly at a lower rate.